20 years of fighting, America's longest war, and the Taliban reclaim Afghanistan in just over a week. Was it preventable? Let's get perspective right now from Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. He was National Security Advisor under President Trump, and he's author of Battlegrounds, The Fight to Defend the Free World. General, thank you so much for being with us tonight. First, you were one of the people who warned of pending disaster in the Wall Street Journal. The White House is saying it inherited this mess in Afghanistan from the Trump administration. What is your response?
Well, Adrian, it's a failure across multiple administrations, I would say, and I think that when we saw the conditions set for this humanitarian catastrophe was when we began to negotiate with the Taliban in what led to a capitulation agreement in 2019, and this is the idea that you can announce to your enemy the same. You could say the same during the Obama administration and the Trump administration. The schedule for your departure, tell them you're leaving, and then negotiate with them. You're setting yourself to only make concession after concession, which is what happened. And I think this catastrophe that we're seeing was wholly predictable. Now, it's also reversible in terms of being able to address the humanitarian crisis there now. We're seeing some halting steps to do that. But I'll tell you, Adrian, what I would like to see is to see us take back control not only of the airport, but of some safe corridors to get some of the people out who worked with us and who stand to lose everything under this brutal Taliban dictatorship, theocratic dictatorship.
We're watching the video of people running alongside and in front of that plane that has now gone so viral, and the desperation of Afghanis who want to get out of the country. I mean, just it's inconceivable, really. And President Trump also wanted U.S. troops to leave Afghanistan. How did you advise him? How did you warn him against this happening?
Well, that was President Trump's predilection, right, was to get out of Afghanistan. And my job as National Security Advisor was to give him multiple options. And so what we did is we began with that option. This is what it looks like if we pull out of Afghanistan precipitously. And this was all predictable. And that's when President Trump approved the South Asia strategy that he announced in a speech in August of 2017. And I'll tell you, Adrian, I think this was the first, really, the only time when we have had a reasoned and sustainable approach in place for Afghanistan. And sadly, the Trump administration abandoned that strategy, engaged in these futile negotiations with this terrorist organization, and then the Biden administration doubled down on that flawed approach to the war. What's so sad about this, Adrian, is that we had a sustainable level of commitment there. Who knows what the number would have been? 8,500, 3,500. It doesn't really matter. What matters is we were enabling the Afghans to take the brunt of the fight and to prevent what you see happening today from happening, and to allow Afghans to continue to enjoy the freedoms that they've enjoyed since we defeated the Taliban and threw them out of control, out of government in Afghanistan in 2001.
But the amount of money spent and the amount of resources given to train, and it seemed to all be upended in what seems like days. Were you surprised by how quickly this country dissolved?
No, I wasn't, because, Adrian, we delivered psychological blows to the Afghan security forces and the Afghan government that went far beyond what the Taliban was capable of delivering physically. And that's by telling them that, that we're leaving. That's by forcing the Afghan government to release 5,000 of some of the most heinous people on earth. And then what happens is the Taliban then gain psychological strength. As you saw, in some places they negotiated surrender. And when they take over territory and they take over populations, they just say to the people, hey, if your son, if your husband, if your father serves in the Afghan security forces, we will kill all of you. And so it was a psychological collapse more than it was even a physical collapse.
And the context that this story lives in, I mean, we have a lens that we look through as Americans that would prevent us from even understanding the complex situation in Afghanistan, let alone the Middle East. The Afghan president actually fleeing, there were reports of him with money and cars, and he just posted a message saying the Taliban essentially have won, and now they're responsible for ruling there. So what is the chance that Afghanistan will not be a terrorist haven?
It's about zero, Adrian. I mean, these groups are completely intertwined, right? We engaged in this in self-delusion. The first that you're seeing now today exposed is that the Taliban would share power. Okay, how's that working out? The second is maybe that, well, maybe the Taliban will impose a more benign form of Sharia in areas they control. We're seeing them line people up and commit mass murder in the town squares. We're seeing them repress women again, forcing these marriages, so-called marriages, as a cover for rape, of 15-year-old girls. I mean, this is the real Taliban, and then also the delusion that there's a bold line, between the Taliban and other terrorist organizations. They are completely intertwined with, and in some ways dependent on, Al-Qaeda and the Haqqani network. And these groups have been sponsored as well by the Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence. And so we simplified it to, we're just only, entering into this negotiation with the Taliban, and we actually deluded ourselves to the extent that we imagined the Taliban would be partners with us in counterterrorism. It would be laughable if it wasn't so sad and if it didn't have such profound humanitarian consequences that we're seeing today.
Well, it really does make you just shake your head at the screen, because you're thinking about the fact that there were so many predictions, so many people saying this is what's going to happen if we pull out. And you mentioned terrorism. Now here at home domestically, the terror alert has been raised once again. What is the likelihood that there will be increased terror threats here in the United States? How feasible is that, considering what the Taliban is doing in Afghanistan?
It's almost a certainty, and we know from recent experience, from the mass murder attacks of 9/11, we should remember the most devastating terrorist attacks in history, where nearly 3,000 innocents lost their lives, tens of thousands more were wounded and sickened by the after effects of that attack. And we should also learn from the complete withdrawal from Iraq, right, in December 2011. That's when then Vice President Biden called up President Obama and said, "Thank you for allowing me to end this goddamn war." Now, think about how ill-informed that is, the idea that wars end when one party disengages, as if then in Al-Qaeda in Iraq and now today Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, they look around and say, well, the Americans are gone. I guess we'll just stop. This is all misframed, Adrian, and we keep talking about our desire, to end endless wars. But what if it's an endless jihad that these terrorists are waging against us? That means that we have to remain engaged against these enemies of all civilized people. I mean, Afghanistan, Adrian, is a modern-day frontier between barbarism and civilization. And what we're seeing today are the enemies of all humanity gaining strength, gaining power, and this is as much a victory for Al-Qaeda as it is for the Taliban.
Do you see another adversary stepping into the country, possibly China, Russia?
I don't think so. I think what they'll do is just try to contain the problem there, and because they have really, no humanitarian drive to their policies. But of course, we know that problems that emanate, from that part of the world become much more dangerous once they reach our shores and other shores. So what you're going to see next is a massive refugee crisis that's going to affect countries in the region, in Central Asia, and then Pakistan. It will become even more destabilized. Pakistan is a particularly dangerous place because it's a country that has nuclear weapons, and it's also a place that gives really access to narcotics trafficking in a way that can enrich these jihadist terrorist groups and make them even more potent and more dangerous. There are over 20 U.S. designated terrorist organizations in the Afghanistan-Pakistan border area, and they already want to commit mass murder against us and our interests and our allies abroad. You
said this is reversible. Can you quickly say what you would do to reverse this situation?
Well, the humanitarian catastrophe is reversible. I mean, I can't imagine anybody thought it was a good idea to give up control of airports. So what you need is safe zones so that you can help those who are fleeing these murders of the Taliban. You need safe corridors, and then you need means of evacuation. We are not Ecuador, Adrian. Right? We have a military who can do that. We have forces that are trained specifically for that mission, for securing airfields, the areas around it, and then providing that kind of safe passage.
Yeah, safe enough
and
that people aren't jumping onto planes and hiding in the wells of tires or wheels, I mean, and plummeting to their death. I apologize, we are out of time, but I so appreciate that you have come on here today with your expertise. Thank you again for being with us. Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, former National Security Advisor for President Donald Trump and author, Battlegrounds, the Fight to Defend the Free World. Thank you again.